welcome to Drawing with Fire. Valarie, your neighborhood pyrography artist, joined with Hubcap,
Hubby,
and Fur Babies. And today we are working on fabrics. Luckily in this piece we have dark, medium, and light fabrics, so that really helps get the point across. I know the pattern may seem a little odd and hard to understand, but we will go over it. Right now I'm heating up the 18 extra small Optima at 2.5. I can always go hotter if I need to, but we are going to get started with the darks. And you know what I just realized? I don't have the reference of all the fabric like you guys do. I didn't print that one out yet. So it should be hopefully on my phone. Hey Kathy, hey Andrea, hey Greg, it's been too long. Wanda, Michelle, hello. Alrighty, I'm going to quickly pull up my phone and mute it so it's not making so much noise for everybody. And find, hopefully, the reference so I can see what I'm supposed to be doing. In theory. Maybe, maybe not. Alright, we'll wing it. I have to have it somewhere. That's odd. That is odd. Sorry about this.
if you print it and get it out, I can get it off the printer if you want.
And I'm looking just real quick. Checking the drawer. Not seeing anything.
Maybe.
And here I thought I was ready.
You are ready.
I was on time.
You are ready. You're here.
Well, I guess we're just letting people come in then. It's so weird that I don't have the photo. I thought I'd pulled it up in a different live, but I guess not. Yep, I'm not seeing it. It's fine. Luckily, I know that the jacket over here is a medium light gray, or it's a medium gray. We've got a dark, what are these called? Neckties. What's his name wears it in Scooby-Doo? Cravat, yes. We have a white shirt. So we have a lot more dark here, but we've got shadows. Oh, and he has a vest too. But I can start with the cravat.
The cravat's probably like
I'm going to have to go darker.
Or something like that.
Well, he wasn't a rich man.
The shirt, I'm sure, is linen.
Yep.
And people of that time period are just a lot of wool. So
it's true.
Probably a wool suit.
So we're going to bypass the white for right now. And we're going to bump down to the cravat, which is a dark color. So I've bumped up to 3.5. I'm going to use the top half of the tip and drag. And we'll see how much darker this is going to have to go. So following my line, so I have a shadow in the white. So I'll go underneath that shadow for now. It's going to have to go darker anyway. And we'll get that in. So what I'm going to do, I'm not outlining. I'm going through and picking out all of the valleys of the fabric and putting those in first.
As landmarks?
Yep. Find your landmarks, and the valleys in fabric will help you get the rest of the fabric in without doing any kind of outlining.
Yeah, I always do the same thing. It's choosing the darkest values. You know, those are the deepest shadows, and those will always give you great landmarks to sort of bridge to your other features and build upon.
So I'm using the tip flat, but if I need to get into a smaller area, I just very slightly rotate it so that I get the edge of the tip, and that'll allow me to get into small areas and taper it off. Because with fabric, just because we have a good dark right here in this valley, it will stay dark. Not as dark, but it will stay dark until we get to the peak. And that's the only way I really know how to describe it, because that's how fabric is. So following, so we've got a curve, we've got indent of how the fabric lays, and you can't really see it on what I can't see it on the screen. This is it goes all the way down, so it does appear to be in sections, how he has it tied off. And if I'm a little bit worried about going too dark, I can use more of the tip flat and it'll go lighter.
But I don't think you need to worry about that, because you know those are going to be pretty dark.
They are. And the fabric is going to be, even at the highest point of the fabric, it's still going to be dark.
Yeah.
So I'm just dragging with the direction. And now I'm at a stopping point. As in, I wonder, can I borrow the tablet for a minute? I am going to send it to my phone because I know it's on the tablet. Because I do need to see.
Huh?
So
Cap doesn't have a job.
Let
me stare wistfully out the window at the falling snow.
Alrighty. I'll go ahead and do the sepia one. Just so. Quickly do it to my phone. Boom. That's all I needed.
Oh.
That's all I needed.
You need me again?
I need you again. Ow. Yes. I need you again. Yes. Alright, here we go. Now I can see. And this is the sepia version. So we can see all the dark lines are the valleys. Whoops. So that's what I'm trying to put in first.
Greg says fabric has always been fun for me.
It is fun. I like doing fabric.
You know what? Fabric is low stress.
It is.
Because there's a lot of variation.
Yeah.
So even if you don't get it exact, it still looks like fabric. And it is, I think, easier to conceptualize because everybody knows what fabric looks like.
Yep.
We've seen it all our lives. And anytime as an artist that you can do work that is easier to conceptualize and easier to implement, it is always enjoyable, I think. And that's the way I feel about fabric, too.
Yep. Alrighty, now I got my reference up so I can see it. And fabric, at least this section of the fabric and how it lays on the body, is similar to hair. It tends to end or begin in V's for the most part. Alright, so we've got a dark that comes down. This is where the fabric's curving down. So in the center is going to be the darkest, where it curves down. And then we've got a little bit of hump. Again, it's going to be where it's the deepest is going to be the darkest. So right in the middle is going to be the darkest. So we can put that in. And then we can touch down again where we've already burned. Make sure I'm not coming off the... Go a little flatter with the pen. And bring up those darks along the valley wall.
So Greg says exactly. Low stress.
Yep, it's low stress. If it's not perfect, nobody knows, because as long as it looks like fabric, nobody's going to question it.
But you know, the thing is though, right? If you can draw a piece of fabric accurately, then by association, we work up a lot of stress when it comes to doing portraits or, you know, things that we want to get right. And so we put a lot of pressure on ourselves. But if you can do a piece of fabric accurately, technically you can do that portrait.
Yep.
It's just the amount of stress that you're putting on yourself. So if possible, try to not focus on the stress of doing something and just do it and find your joy in making the work. Sort of like, if you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball, right?
We haven't watched that in a while.
So
this is a darker area of the fabric, but it is not as dark. So that's why I'm flat, moving quicker just to fill it in. Just so I know where that area is. This curves around and gets darker in here. So I'll bring it up from the valley. So right now there's a little bit of a line that I've done. And that's okay, because I'm going to darken some of the other area around it and it will disappear. Right now I'm just blocking in. Now it shows that I need to go a bit wider. And you can even kind of separate it a little bit. Following that direction. So I've got a lighter spot up here. And I'll drag it down. There's areas I can darken. I'm not going to worry about it right now. The line gets lighter as it curves around because we're seeing less of it, but we need to have a curve in coming to the end. And it doesn't have to be a perfect line. And then right along it, it has a shadow that comes down. So I'm going to be flat right now, just so it's not burning as hot. And bring that shadow down. That's going to have to go way darker. Right now it's much easier if I block in. Yep. I gotta remember to move back over here. And we have some valleys here that aren't as deep, so they're not as dark. So I've got my pen more flat versus the tip. And I'm just dragging. The faster I move, the lighter it's going to burn. But the minute I hold the tip up for any good amount of time, it's going to recover that heat and burn darker. And again, burn darker when I'm just at the tip, because that's where the most of the heat is sitting for any of the pens. So I can darken it up. This is going to be a dark background, which is really going to make the white pop. And we will discuss the white, but for now, we're going to look at the dark fabric. So right here in the middle where these lines kind of curve up, I'm going to thicken them because that's giving the illusion of the fabric bending. Even though looking at the reference it's not bending as much. You can put a shadow right here. Just gives a little bit more flow to the fabric. It's pretty stiff fabric. Bring this down. I've got some darker right up here. And you can see, because I'm burning across the grain, it's getting a little messy. I can clean that up by moving more with the grain and filling in those spots. And we're okay. And if I wanted to straighten these lines, I just go to the bottom of the valley on the left side. Straighten them up a bit. Some of them I can leave closer together because they are stacked on top of each other. So I don't have to worry about that. Not all of these lines connect. So I'm going to burn more flat so it's lighter. Drag it quicker. And follow my shadows. Leaving some room for some dark, for any of the lighter areas. Yeah, if I wasn't on camera, I would just go, because it is more relaxing to me to do fabric. In fact, people ask me what's the easiest thing to practice burning, and I would say fabric and leaves. And they're both very similar to each other. Darken up this shadow. So even though I burned right here, I'm darkening this shadow, and we can see that area lighting up. Same concept as doing any of the skin or any burning. Wherever you put a dark, it's going to lighten up areas that you thought were dark already. That's why it's good not to stress about it. Your burning is going to keep changing until you're done. So let's see here. I'm going to find a landmark. I'm going to come back up here. So we're going around this way, but we're also going around this way, and that may be hard to keep up with, hard to visualize. But because the fabric is wrapped this way, that's how it falls. So I can go back and forth in a U-stroke, even though I am doing ovals with the tip, to fill it in and give it its shape. Is it still on camera? Okay. Back and forth. Touch that so I don't go to sleep. And this allows us to get the drape of the fabric. Even when fabric is stiff, it still has a little bit of drape. And that's what makes it more interesting. So if you're having a hard time visualizing how the fabric should look, I meant to grab a couple pieces of fabric to show, but I don't. The curtains are hung, so I can't use the curtains. I'll try using my sweater. It has a good drape. So I'm just going to fill in this dark area, and then I can work back. Find where the darker valleys are, darken them up. Let's see here, how am I going to do this? So I'm going to bring this line. I'm on the edge. Bring it over, moving quickly. Don't need to connect all the lines because there's going to be breaks in the fabric where it's not as defined. Okay, this one goes along the bottom. It's pretty dark through most of it. Trying to see where the shadow starts and stops. So right now I'm flat and I'm just dragging. I'm going to kind of turn to the left to get the darkest line right up against the fabric so we have a shadow. Flat, I'm just going to drag down some of the texture. I'll go back over it, but some of the fabric we see the shadow kind of coming down. And we have a bit of dark.
It's pretty wet snow that's falling.
It is. Bring some of that out.
You just
Bring
want
it
pets.
up.
That's all you want? Just pets. Okay.
Just kind of shape it. Follow the shapes. If you can follow the shapes, it'll make things so much easier. So for dark fabric, you're only going to have a thin line of the lightest area. And that's going to be at the very top of the fabric. So the very peak of how the fabric's laying. In lighter fabric, excuse me, you'll see more. But on dark fabric, you're not going to see white. This kind of comes down, bring it in. So right here, this fabric, even though I've got it defined in the way I do, excuse me, it is not light. So now I can even darken up the shadow even more. It curves around. Right now it may look like a mess. We'll pull out the camera so you can see better. So I'm actually going over the line, the top half of the tip, and doing oval strokes, and that brings out the shadow of the valley without being too harsh. So see, I just widened it, but it's not as dark as the valley itself. Getting a sketchbook, even this a small sketchbook, but to be honest, you could even use some printer paper if that's all you've got, and a number 2 pencil, and take out a washcloth or a pillowcase or any kind of fabric, dish towel, and kind of drape it over something, and then just draw what you see and shade what you see. Will make you really comfortable with doing fabric. It's a really good practice technique, and since you're not burning and you can erase, you'll feel more comfortable with it. Where is this line going? So our white shirt comes in and has a shadow underneath. That's what this line is. It's a good thing I pulled up the photo because I might have gotten a little lost. So that's the dark shadow under there. Excuse me. We have a V where the cravat comes down into tying into the knot. And that's right. I'm using the tip, smaller circles. It's a shadow, it's not an outline, but I could see how that would be a little confusing. There's a line right here, so I'll put that in. But if it's starting to feel like an outline, don't connect everything. And then you can come back and adjust it. So this line, part of that shadow. This line comes up. So now we need to bring the cravat. It's around, now it's coming up. So we have to follow that. That line right there. And I'm just laying down lines so that I don't lose it. And this is a pretty strong line of the cravat. Connect it. Right now I'm flat. It is a dark line. I can go through and darken it in a minute. I'm just trying to make sure that I'm in the right spot. I'm going with small strokes and fill in. You see the cravat comes down, but then it comes round. This is part of the white shirt, and we'll bump over there in a minute. We also have, trying to stand my phone up so I can follow. Quit falling. We also have some white mixed in here, but it's a pretty dark white. So we won't focus on that just yet. Make sure I get the curve right there. Underneath the white is dark. And you've got white fabric, a dark background makes it pop even more. Right, got that line in. That's dark. While we're focusing on the darks, I'm going to jump down to the vest because it really is dark. So that line goes up. This is all dark, comes down. The fabric doesn't connect. That in so that the fabric goes up, and then we've got skin, so that's why I'm halting right there for now. So we ain't talking about the skin right now. So the jacket or the vest is really dark. We don't, underneath the lapels of the vest, right here, we have a dark shadow. And this dark shadow, it's pretty much as dark as the valleys of the cravat. Say that 10 times quick. Valley of the cravat, valley of the cravat. So little strokes, I'm going slower. To put the darkest shadow is going to be right up against the fabric, and then it's going to come out. So I'm going right up against, kind of curves right here. So it's very small strokes over and over, which helps keep the burn smoother. Let's see here, it's not as dark right here, so I'm gonna move quicker. And then right up here, it's dark again. So I'm gonna slow down, do smaller circles overlapping, it goes down right about here, and then it lightens up. So I'm going to do longer ones that are quicker, and this way we don't have a harsh line. And then I can go up, I can go where it's already been burned, go flatter, start off and drag down from my darkest area. So I'm touching down in the dark, and then burning flat, coming down, so that it kind of lightens up. And I don't lose that dark right up against it. Kind of the same as going over the valleys in the cravat. Start where it's the darkest and drag down.
Carlos Gomez says, hola.
Hola. Welcome. And I can go back over it. I'm using the top half of the tip. Here, I should probably give you the... Let's see here. I'm going to give you where my tips are. That's not the right spot.
I can find them.
They're right there. So, here you go. So for this part, I'm using the top half.
Top half?
Go down. Half tip.
Half tip.
So touching down in the dark area and dragging down.
Okay.
The faster I move, the lighter the burn. Let's see here. So his lapels are darker than the vest. Now that could just be an artifact of the photo. It could be the lighting. That might be hard to decide. So as the artist, you decide how you want it to look. It might feel a little off if you go too dark on the lapels and much lighter on the vest. It might feel a little off.
No,
Don't.
I got it.
My hair in the sweater.
Sheila Edwards is here.
Hey, Sheila.
And Carlos asked a question, but I don't know.
Pyrography. See your profile. What? Okay. Marker. I don't know marker for my pyrography. It's marker wood. You can Google Translate it. Please. Carlos, un momento. I can't do a lot of stuff at once. I can't do that. But I do want to be able to answer. I'm using basswood. I've got it linked in the description. It is not an affiliate link. We all get a discount with that code, and that's it. Alright, so I'm just dragging down with the grain because it makes it easier. You see, I'm getting a little bit of some blobs in here. So I'm going to turn my wood so I can more easily go with the grain.
He's asking what brand.
Optima.
Optima.
You can type that in
chat.
Yeah, and it's carvertools.com. It should pop up. Alright. So I can feel that there's some areas of the grain. Maybe I need to go more tip up and go around. See, we got some blobs there. When I pull out, you're not going to see in fact, you may not see the blobs right now because I got the camera out. So I will go closer. We can see a bit of blob going on. Last week we talked about going around, darkening the area around. Sometimes it needs to be smaller strokes, sometimes bigger, that I can feel. I didn't fully sand this board because that's when I got my finger.
Oh. No.
So it was a very fast sand.
Yeah.
But you know what? It actually is lending texture to the vest. that I'm not hating.
No. Get down.
Alright. Blend that in. That part of the shadow is not as dark as this. I'd also go back with a bigger tip, but for now that's fine. The white, because this is such an old photograph, the white is pretty in your face white. But if you look closer at it, it may be hard to see. It's the edges where I can't remember the chromatic issue it's called in photography. Aberration is brighter. But some of it we can use. Now along, say, the vest right here, there's a bright line in the reference. I wouldn't put that there, because that part going underneath the vest wouldn't be bright white. But right here, where the light would be hitting it more, would be a brighter white. Same with up here at the top, I wouldn't necessarily put that in. I would need to lower my temp on my pen, and we'll get there. But we do have a shadow where the vest and the shirt come together. So I'm going to put the darkest in and then work out. This is a good example of the U stroke, the U oval stroke. So I'm moving my tip.
Are you still using half tip?
Right now, yes, I am.
Okay.
So because of how the fabric lays, I'm doing the ovals. The oval stroke is the one that I use the most. But I'm also moving my pen, my arm, and a U back and forth. Back and forth. Now that I lifted, pull some heat. I'm going to touch down where I've already burned. Use that extra heat to darken it a little bit. And then come back down. Top half of the tip. Thus far, I have not adjusted my heat yet. I've been using the same pen. Although, because this is a bigger area, I lost my reference.
Oh, your phone timed out?
Yeah, it timed out.
Oh. That looks to me like that jacket that the vest that he's wearing. Like, I'm pretty sure the jacket is like wool. But,
yeah.
But that looks like a much softer material. It looks almost like I don't know what it would be
for
at
which
the time,
part?
But the dark vest.
Oh, okay.
It looks, because it's looks like a very soft weave. So I don't know.
Yeah, the jacket is tweed.
It's tweed. Okay.
So from this shadow, I'm going to put a little darker on the edge, because it would be coming down a little bit. I'm still flat. Actually, I'm going, yeah, it's still top half. The tip.
I wonder if chat has any ideas of what that vest might be made of.
I think wool is a good guess, especially for back then.
That, though.
It would be worn out. Like I said, he wasn't a rich man. When these photos, which there's a different word for them because they're plates, were done, people actually paid to have his photo done. Him and his wife did not have the money for that.
Oh.
In fact, his wife died of TB, and he spent a lot of their marriage sick. Just didn't have the money. What was it? He made $9 on
The Raven.
The Raven.
Yeah.
And he continued to take care of his mother-in-law through the whole thing.
Yeah.
The money just wasn't there. So he's not going to be... It was said he did not wear expensive clothes. He liked to look like he did. He liked to look put together. But when this photo was... I've got the year it was taken. It doesn't have the month. But he's wearing multiple layers. So he's got the shirt, he's got the vest, he's got the cravat. He's wearing a lot of layers.
Yeah, that vest is not a warm weather vest.
No.
So.
Alright, so we got a bit of shadow here. Inside here is part of the jacket. I'm going to slow down, use the top half of the tip to get that shadow in. But I don't want it to be overly harsh all the way up. So I'm breaking it up and blending it out. I may have to go over it a couple of times to blend it out. That's why expecting to take time makes a lot of difference. I would be a lot further if I sat and worked on this, but we finally had Christmas this weekend with the grandkids, and
yeah, so we kept our indoor decorations up.
Yeah.
So that the grandchildren can have, Christmas. But now we got to take it all down.
Yep. All right.
Or hear me out.
What? Just keep it up till next year?
Leave it up till next year.
I'm going to switch over to the...
I will dust the tree.
Okay.
Yeah, I was joking, but you said yes, and now I'm considering it seriously.
Well, people put different decorations out.
Yeah.
We got springtime. Alright, so we can't see the blobs. I've pulled out the camera a little bit. Can't see the blobs, but it does look textured, which fabric is textured. Even when it's extremely smooth, there's still a little bit of texture in there. You may not necessarily see the whole of the weave, but you do. You can silk, you can still tell it's fabric. It has texture. I'm switching over to the 18 small. Right now I'm heating it at 2.5 because we're going to bump over to the white. We're going to start. Well, we might as well start at the top. I'm going to erase some of the white charcoal I laid down just to not burn over it because it kind of grays out. I'm going to take some of that off. As you can see, it's still there. But that's okay. And I'll be using the tip to get into the smaller areas because it is a larger tip compared to the last one. Excuse me. Alrighty.
So what are you using?
The 18 small.
And are you using half tip? Or
I'm going to use the tip to start. I need to bring you back. Alright, so we're going to start in this white. And the more we put stuff in, the more it starts coming together. So you got to work through the ugly. It's going to stay ugly for a while, regardless of what you're burning. So I'm going to touch down in the hot, or in the where I've already burned dark. Bring it up. We've got a nice shadow in this white that I want to keep because it gives it character. Bring it up. It comes up. So this is 2.5.
Kathy, yes, we are getting snow right now. Although it's not snowing right now, but it was 5 minutes ago, and it probably will again.
It's been more frozen mix lately.
Well, it was snowing pretty good. We definitely got a layer of white out there.
That little... Alright, so using just the tip, I'm trying to get into the... There's one area that's much darker. So I'm just using the tip. Small circles to bring it in there.
Yeah, Wanda, it's tempting. I mean, sure. I mean, our next holiday is, you know, Valentine's Day, so we just throw some hearts up on the tree and call it good.
Yeah, our wedding anniversary.
Yeah.
So now I can see right here the shadow on his face needs to go darker, but I'm not hot enough right now to go that dark. We'll move over here. We've got the neck.
Kathy says it's raining there in Wickenburg.
Ah. Wickenburg is northwest of Phoenix. Just you know the mountains we stop at for the rest stop?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's on the other side of that. Alright, so right here we've got some shading from the skin and where the fabric and skin contact. It's going to be lighter on top because that's where it's the highest, closest to the camera. And then as it folds down, I'm flat right now, following the direction of how the collar is laying. It's going to be the darkest, and that even in the white, it's furthest from the light. Back. And that may feel too white or too harsh for white. Just trying to shape this real quick.
Wanda says they're just cloudy there.
Alright, so this,
Kathy has a white pencil tree that she leaves up all year and decorates for all the holidays.
I thought about it, but I put my trees away in here. I didn't want to have anybody get tired of seeing them. Alright. Now right now that's probably, if I stayed on camera, I'll pull back because it's going to be brighter. That's how the light hits the camera. You're going, that's not white. And here's the trick. I know this is a dark background and we will discuss backgrounds next week. I'm trying to figure out how I can do this where we come back to it next week. Let's see here, that's darkest right here, shaping the collar. This dark background is going to make it pop. It comes up like that. So I'm not going to stress about it not looking bright white. Because watch, when we come down here underneath the collar, we still have the cravat. It's not as dark under here. It needs to go darker, but it's not as dark.
Well, you can see that there is some definitely some color variation in that white collar. You know, there's some shadow there, and although I would say, you know, out of all the values, it's definitely one of the lighter values.
Mm-hmm.
But you're right. Once you get everything in, it is going to be it's going to be radically different value. I mean, it's going to appear much lighter.
Yeah.
Because of all the dark around it, which is how it appears in the picture too. You know, it's one of the lighter things. Yeah.
So I'm just trying to put a little bit of dark around it so we can see it lighten up in real time. But I may need to switch because I'll either need to switch heat setting.
You're still just using the tip?
Yeah, right now I'm on the very, very tippy tip.
Okay.
Trying to get into the small area. And I'm going to switch back over to the extra small just because I can do it quicker.
And that's a part of the function of knowing your pens and then, you know, why you would have other pens, you know. But I think you said it before, like if you become very comfortable with a specific pen, if you can't afford or don't want to do a lot of different pens, you certainly can use one or a few.
Yep. I'd say 4. 4 pens that you use consistently that you get comfortable with 4 pins. As long as you've got a small pin to get into very small areas like the pupils of an animal or person, a pin, at least one shader, and a pin that allows you to do like what I do with the shaders of not only shading but going up on the edge and getting thinner lines. And probably a ball tip, just because they can make certain things easier.
Yeah.
Those 4 pins, just get comfortable with them.
And I think that's...
And you won't feel like you need to keep buying pins.
Yeah. I think that's the point that I was making. Is it...
Now, no pin maker is going to be happy with me saying that.
Right.
But it's the truth.
But, you can achieve most things with, a limited amount of pins.
Mm-hmm.
But certain other pins might make things easier for you.
Yeah, and once you've been burning for a while, then I would say, go for it. You got the money, and you're curious, and you're comfortable with burning, and what have you. Go for it. When you first start off, you don't need a bunch. You need to be comfortable in burning, the act of burning, and yourself.
And I think that's really important too, because if you become really good with, the base tools that you need, then anything else that you add, it's going to make you're going to be better at it. Mm-hmm. But it's important to get those skills down with the basic amount of pins or pin, so that you understand how to do that without getting a bunch of extra stuff. And I think that's where, like, a lot of artists, you collect art supplies, but for a whole different reason. But
I am a full set. I have full set syndrome. Yeah. I fully recognize it. I got it.
But I do know that there's artists that are like, oh, I can't do this unless I have this particular, tool or a brush or whatever it is in their medium. And the truth of it is that you can do a lot with very little.
Yep.
And it's better to learn that than to keep buying art supplies, because you'll get into a mindset where you think that you can't accomplish something without tool. And I think for some artists too, I think it's also an excuse, and that shows their inexperience as well. To say, well, like, I can't do this unless I have this particular thing. So I'm not going to even try. It's like an easy way out.
If you're honest with yourself and it's just because you want it, then go for it.
One of the best, when I was getting my art degree, which doesn't make me fancy. It's just something I did. One of the
military paid for it. You went for something that you're interested in.
Yep. One of the best
paid for it.
exercises that we did in one of the classes was to use a non-standard tool and
colors. Remember?
and to do like an entire portrait with something that you wouldn't normally use. And so I used a wad of canvas to paint a portrait
of a dragon, or not a dragon, a lion.
Yeah, I think so.
Mm-hmm. It's the lion.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Mm-hmm.
And
I really like that piece.
And it was very instructive because I had to use this terrible, shred of canvas
with colors that you didn't normally paint with.
Colors that we didn't normally paint with. Yep. And only 3 colors on top of that.
Only 3 colors that you didn't normally use.
And it forced me to think in a different way. But one thing that I was talking to Val about, and maybe we talked about this last time, but in general, it was because we were talking about AI art.
Let's don't discuss that now.
No. But we're talking about artists in general, and I think that for most artists, I can certainly say it's true of Val. And me. Don't worry, it's going to be a compliment.
What did I do?
Settle down.
What did I do?
Hey, calm down.
What do I do now?
Roxy's like, is that your art style is going to remain constant across multiple medias.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you are, for instance, good at portraits in graphite, you're going to be good at portraits in pyrography
once you learn it.
Yes, I
Yes,
know.
yes, big caveat there.
But your work is going to be recognizable as yours. And I think that's what I learned in that exercise, is that even though like my tools were limited, it still looked like a piece of mine. And that's really important to know. And
right now I'm flat, and I'm just dragging as we're talking.
wait, you're flat now?
I'm flat.
Okay. I gotta fix that then.
I'm just alternating my speed for the area that I'm burning, but I'm got the pen flat.
Full tip. There we go. So.
And I'm at 3.5.
Okay. So I guess.
Sorry.
I guess the point I'm making is that if you have a limited amount of pens, you're still going to do pretty much the same quality of work. But the better that you get with those limited amount of pens, the better that you will be with a wider array of tools later on. It's more important to go that direction as opposed to getting a bunch of tools and trying to be good with a bunch of tools. Like, do it with a smaller set, like learn with a smaller set and hone your skills with a smaller set of tools, because it's kind of a luxury to have a larger array of tools, and then you'll really understand like what you need and what can make your life easier if you want it.
It'll also build your confidence.
Yeah.
The more confident you feel in your art, the better your art will be.
Yeah. So like for instance, here's a weird thought. Like if you only had a ball tip, the art would be different because the ball tip functions differently than the other tips, for sure.
I've seen beautiful ball tip pieces.
But you could do it.
Yep.
You might have to do it a little larger because you're not able to get the real fine lines. So you might have to make the portrait, if you're doing a portrait, larger so that you could get that fine detail, because you're limited by, your tool in that case. But you could do it, and I think that would be a very good practice or a project for somebody who wants to hone their skills. Is pick a pen, pick a heat pen, and see what you can get done with it. See how good you can complete a project with just like the one tip.
Well, you've seen me only use. Oops, I've got the angle wrong on this. You've only seen me use 2 pens on everything I've burned so far.
Yep.
And the main pen has been this one.
And it all comes down to understanding your tools, Yeah, I've been doing a lot of sketching lately, and you got me that really nice pit pen set, or pencil. They're graphite pencils, but they're mixed with, I think, a little bit of wax, so they're really super smooth. Like I can do a portrait with a number 2 pencil, but I'm limited by the range of the darkness
how dark it gets
of the graphite, so I have to watch my values because I don't have as large a range. But with this set of pencils that she got me, the darkest pencil is a 14B, and that's pretty dark. But that's really nice because I already know how to do a portrait with a 2B, So if I have, all that extra dark to play with, that makes it easier for me to, get a larger range of values. And so, but I wouldn't be able to do that if I hadn't had to, gain the skill of just using a limited range of pencils first, I suppose.
And yes, it takes time, but that time you're investing in yourself. Right now, I'm just trying to get some of this more blocked in so you can have a better idea of how it looks.
Greg says 18M, 2 ball drivers, and modified wire. All else collects dust.
Yeah, a lot of mine. Well, alright, this will be embarrassing.
But you
pull out the
you
camera.
have reviewed these pins.
Yes,
so it's a little different.
And sometimes I grab more pins depending on what I'm doing and how fast I'm trying to get it done.
But for real, she is a completionist.
There's
She's a
the dust. You can see what gets used the most. I need to dust it. I will clean it, I promise. But you can see what I use the most. I use this side more than this side. And
the ones with the double cushions?
No, what I did was pull off of testers for those. No, I'm saying from basically most of the pins I use are on this side.
Oh.
Though I have a row right here that I use too.
So Kathy says sometimes too many tools can be confusing for beginners.
And overwhelming. Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah. Because, you don't know. Like, I would say that's a big issue in painting. Like,
too many colors and brushes.
Kit, it's like, what's a fan brush? What's an angle brush? What's the difference between a round and a flat?
What do they each do?
Right. Like, what am I supposed to do here? Like, so it can be intimidating.
Yep. Keep it simple.
I saw the cushion on your pin, like what she has right now, and that comes from Optima, right? Mm-hmm. But I found out quite by accident, because we have Nerf guns in this house. I found out that because one of the dogs had bit the rubber tip off the one of the Nerf darts, and they're hollow, and they slip over a pencil. That foam, slips over the pencil as a sleeve. So if you like to sketch but your hands get tired,
and you have Nerf around.
You have Nerf, or you can.
No, he can be up. I just don't want to wear my sweater and mess it up.
You can grab a pack of Nerf darts for cheap and cut the rubber tips off and make great foam sleeves for your pencils to add a little comfort.
I'm just trying. I'm going to have more of this filled in now that our Christmas is finally over. I'm going to sit with this piece and get more in.
Just FYI.
So it'll be further along next week.
FYI, just don't move your chair because Roxy's face is right next to the wheel.
Okay. Alright. So the cravat is definitely going to have to go a little darker.
Yeah, Kathy says not to mention different brushes for different mediums. Yep.
Yeah,
absolutely. And then there's the whole, hey, synthetic brushes, natural brushes, It's like, oh my goodness. It gets overwhelming,
I know I'm burning over all of it. When I darken up the shadows, where I'm burning will the lighter part of the burn will lighten up.
But I think it's
trying to get it filled in because it's not going to have any bright highlights.
But I think what we do in the shadows is very important. You see what I did there?
I do.
But
the shadows are more important on some level. Without the shadows, none of our lights stand out. Shadows make everything more interesting.
Are you still doing the flat?
Yep, I'm flat right now.
Okay.
I'm just trying to get this quickly filled in. There's a pretty harsh grain. We can see it right here.
I'm just letting you know we just passed an hour of actual time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And how much longer are you planning to go?
Just a few minutes.
Okay.
So we have any final questions for fabric?
And what are we doing next week?
We will work on the dark background next week. Now, remember, for the Super Toasties have this pattern. It's a bigger version. I have his wife's, it's in a painting form, but I have his wife's face that is going to be, it's in the background. I'm trying to look. Where did I move it? got my pattern right here. So this is her face. That is, it's a dark background. Oop, we can do this and see where we've been. There we go. In fact, I brought some of the hair out. She's right here. This is a dark background. This is only going to be a smidge lighter. Let me see. Did I? There we go.
Her face.
Her face. In fact, it's on the reference I'm looking at, so I'll pull that out for you guys real quick. And even this on my reference that I made is too bright. That's how much lighter it's actually going to be. Come on, take that away. Thank you. So we see her face here. It's not even going to be this bright necessarily.
Oops,
what did you do?
Sorry, I'm closing it.
You confused me. Don't worry.
I was trying to open this.
So that's what's in my pattern that you guys don't see. He is the main he is the main focus. He is, for me, in my opinion, his Annabelle Lee. So that is why he's in the piece, because that's why I'm doing this piece, is because of that poem. Alright. I'm looking at the tie. We've got some really dark parts of the tie. And I'm trying to see if maybe the cravat at the end, I don't know how they wrap and tie, if maybe there was a pattern on the end of it. I don't know. What I'll do, I will just follow the shapes. I will follow the shapes, and that is how I'll put that information in. Because as we look at it this way, it just reads as a tie. We don't need to know everything it's got on it. It reads as a tie. So I will focus on just the shapes. Alright. And things will go darker. Things will go darker. We just haven't gotten there yet. I will have more done next week. It'll be more filled in. So we can focus on a smooth background. That's going to be my focus for this. May I have my mouse, please? Thank you. Thank y'all. Alright. We don't have any. I'm trying to read and my eyes are all blurry. Alrighty. Oh, and if you're watching on replay or if you're watching live, if you're new, don't forget to hit subscribe. Hit the like button, please. That always helps out. And if you're new and you want to keep following along with us, hit the notification. Get all notifications because I do post about the live. Hello. Don't mess up my sweater.
Nice, guys.
Under community, so you can see the post and be reminded. And with that being said, let's go. Oh, you were popping her up. Now I see what you were doing. You know what to say with me. You're awesome. You can do this. Why? You're a pyro artist. Happy burning, guys. Bye.
Yeah.